At the age of 22, a pro hero by the name of Endeavor rose to the rank of the number 2 hero in all of Japan. However, after realizing he had a glaring limit to his power that he was incapable of surpassing, he sought to have a child free from this limitation and capable of surpassing the number 1 hero. With this being his new goal, he organized what is called a quirk marriage with his now wife, Rei Himura, in hopes to produce an offspring that possesses both of their quirks. And within the first few years of their marriage, their first son, Toya Todoroki, was born. Fortunately and unfortunately for Endeavor, Toya had not composited both Flame and Frost from both of his parents. However, Toya was born with a fire quirk even more powerful than Endeavor. So when the time came, Endeavor would train him while proceeding to have another child in hopes that he gets the perfect quirk. Although none of Endeavor's children had the ideal quirk he wished for, he was pleased with Toya and viewed him as more than capable of surpassing All Might with his powerful fire quirk alone, effectively placing his dreams and ambitions onto Toya. But little did they know, everything in Toya's life would change when his hair turned from red to white. A few months into the training, Toya grew to have a strong bond and admiration for his father, truly taking up the role and responsibility of achieving his father's dream to surpass All Might and become the number 1 hero. But there came a day where Toya's hair began to turn from red to white, and for some reason when he would use his fire, the flames would slightly burn his body unlike before. So Endeavor and Rei went to a quirk doctor to find out what was wrong with Toya. An unusual case to be sure. Your son inherited an even more powerful form of the fire-based quirk factor, but he takes after his mother physically, meaning he's not built to endure fire, but rather to withstand freezing temperatures. I have to say, attempting to create custom children is a taboo in our quirk-based society, so I can't advise it. After receiving this life-changing news, Endeavor immediately stopped training Toya, but in spite of the dangerous defects to his body, Toya still longed to become a pro hero just like his father. So he begged Endeavor to continue training him, but Endeavor refused, saying that it was for the sake of his own well-being. Toya wasn't delighted with the tragic realization that he couldn't become a pro hero, saying that his father was the one who lit the fire under him to surpass All Might. So Toya began to train on his own despite his father and sister trying to convince him otherwise. And due to Toya constantly hurting himself, Endeavor regretted having lit the fire under Toya as he realized that Toya inherited the same stubbornness that he had. So to free Toya from his obsession, Endeavor planned to do something that would change Toya's life forever, especially because during this time in Toya's life, he grew to realize what Endeavor actually wanted to accomplish through his children. As the years passed, Endeavor and Rei had another child, resulting in the birth of Natsuo, and this made Toya fall into despair while seeing his father's desire to surpass the number 1 hero, All Might, grow stronger. But just like his 2 oldest siblings, Natsuo gained a quirk and physiological body similar to that of his mother. But this did not stop Endeavor, as 3 years later, the youngest of Toya's siblings, Shoto, was born, inheriting both fire and ice, making him Endeavor's perfect child. Toya was even more discouraged as the birth of Shoto had removed his entire purpose for life and, just as important, his father's attention and acknowledgement. And despite that, Toya was still determined to fulfill his father's dream and refused to abandon it. "No, Dad, I can do it. I can surpass him. See? Look how strong my flames are already. Look at me." The following weeks, Toya began training on his own, and he eventually began going to Sekoto Peak where his father would usually train. And yet again, in an attempt to stop Toya from burning himself, Endeavor would say words that would forever scar Toya's mind by how inconceivable he believed it to be. "Toya, you have to look beyond this. Play with Natsu and Fuyumi. Make some friends at school. There's a whole world besides this hero stuff. I know you understand that." With tears falling from his eyes, Toya looked up to his father and told him that he couldn't understand what it's like to give up because unlike everyone at his school, he has the number 2 hero in the country as his father. "You lit this fire in me, Dad, and it's not going out. I can't just pretend it's not there. Look at me. Endeavor. Look at me." And in a pit of rage, Toya attacks the one thing that intervenes with his purpose in life, Shoto. He was stopped before he could hurt anyone. But after Toya lashing out at his infant little brother, Endeavor decided to ban Toya and his other siblings from interacting with Shoto so he can focus on his training, and entrusted Rei to look after Toya. And Rei mentioned to Endeavor that all Toya wants is to be acknowledged, and that Endeavor is just running away from his problems. During the following years, Toya developed what appeared to be an excellent relationship with his siblings. They were always together and they always played together. And this is especially true regarding his brother Natsuo. However, they were raised separately from their youngest brother Shoto. And likewise, Endeavor's abandonment had a strong emotional and mental impact onto Toya, where many times he used to go to his brother Natsuo with tears in his eyes, questioning why he even existed. Dad's to blame too. Won't even pay attention to us because we're failed creations? Crazy, right? Is that what modern heroes are all about? Making all these kids they don't even need? But even their relationship started to slowly fall apart, as Natsuo would often be woken out of his sleep to hear Toya venting and question if Toya could talk about all this stuff to their sister Fuyumi every once in a while. You're telling me to buzz off too, Natsuo? Even you? I'm talking to you because you're the only one who gets it. You agree, right? The women in this house are good for nothing. Another altercation came within the following days. Toya was leaving his home to train at Sekoto Peak, and upon realizing this, Toya's mother Rei attempted to stop him from hurting himself any more than he already has, questioning if he even truly wanted to be a hero in the first place. She mentioned that Toya must be suffering due to his father being the number 2 hero in the country, and the lofty expectation that he has, in contrast to the reality of his current predicament, is causing Toya to become criminally obsessed with being like his dad. Rei told Toya that there are so many paths available for him, and that he should try to look beyond his father and the world of heroes. And what happened next would forever shock the Todoroki family forever. What the hell do you know, Mom? Where'd you get that tidbit? Some self-help book? I know about Grandma and them being real poor, so they had to sell you off. You had no choice. That's why I was born, right? You're guilty too, Mom. Toya continued to train at Sekoto Peak. During the winter season, around the time he had a growth spurt, his quirk developed, and his flames' color changed from red to blue. Toya discovered that his flames are linked to his emotional state, and would get stronger if he was riled up. I'm pretty awesome if I do say so myself. Man, Dad's sure in for a surprise. But dang, when I get worked up, I don't know why, but I start crying. Excited to show his father how he had developed, Toya asked him to come to Sekoto Peak the next time he had the day off. Endeavor, however, lifted up his shirt and saw his burns and scars, angry that Toya had been training again. But through some really twisted logic, Toya justified this, thinking he was destined for greatness and determined to make his father proud of him. I may be awesome as Shoto sooner or later. Maybe I'll even be able to surpass All Might someday. And then you gotta give me some respect, Dad. You'll be glad you created me. I just know it. Frustrated, Endeavor ignored his eldest son's plea and took his anger out on Rei for not stopping Toya. Sometime later, Toya waited at Sekoto Peak for his father to meet him, but Endeavor never showed up. Quit crying already. Stupid tears. And much to Toya's disappointment and anguish, he despaired. Damn it, Dad! The emotional turmoil he felt grew larger and larger, causing him to get riled up and inevitably lose control of his flames, resulting in a massive wildfire. Toya tried to save himself, but he didn't know how to quell his flames, as the one thing Endeavor taught him was how to turn up the heat. He was scorched with flames exceeding 2,000 degrees Celsius. His body was believed to be incinerated, and the only thing that was found was a part of his jawbone. The death of Toya would forever affect the Todoroki family, especially his mother Rei, whose mental state had already been harshly affected, his brother Natsuo, who still considers his father responsible for Toya's death, and of course, more than anyone, Endeavor, whose grief exceeds everyone, as he believes himself to be the one who actually killed Toya. But Toya did not die. Somehow he survived, left with severe burns all over his body, and grew up without his family knowing the truth. The traumatizing abuse Toya experienced throughout his childhood drove him to become a villain, renaming himself Dabi and dyeing his hair black to hide his true identity. And as a decade has passed, Dabi secretly observed his family's actions from afar and slowly developed a plan to ruin his father's life by destroying his hero career.